Alright, welcome to today's program of the Political Analysis, where we are going to discuss a crucial and often contentious topic, the United Nations Security Council or the UN Security Council, and the fairness of its structure, particularly regarding its permanent members. But before we proceed, I would like to thank you for subscribing. Please continue subscribing. Subscribe to this channel, of course, like, comment, and then share. Please let me also know what you have liked. This is Oren Mugemadia for Pessimist. Let's dive in. The UN Security Council, or the United Nations Security Council, is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations. It is tasked with ensuring international peace and security. It has 15 members, 5 of whom are permanent. Talk about the United States of America, the United Kingdom, which is also known as Britain or Great Britain. I don't know whether it's still great. France, Russia, and China. These permanent members often referred to as the Permanent 5 or P5, hold significant power, including the crucial veto power, which allows any of them to block any substantive resolution. Really, this council is unfair to have 5 permanent members. Some countries are permanent. Even until now, there are many questions. There are questions. People have raised the questions why some countries on this council are permanent. The inclusion of permanent members with veto power has been a source of controversy and criticism. Let's see some of the reasons why this structure is seen as unfair. There is disproportionate power. When we talk about disproportionate power, the veto power allows the permanent 5 or the P5 to unilaterally block resolutions, even if the majority of the international community supports them. This power imbalance means that the interests of these 5 countries can override the global consensus. It is the same story that is happening in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. Whenever they have been talking about the resolution, the war, the ceasefire in the United Nations, the United States of America has used its veto power to protect the Israelis. When it came to Gaddafi, Russia, and China, for them, they didn't even vote. France, Britain, and the United States, of course, we know where they belong to. Then outdated representation. The permanent members were chosen based on the geopolitical realities of the 1945 post-World War II. The world has since changed dramatically, you know very well. Yet the United Nations Security Council structure remains the same, failing to reflect the rise of the other significant global players, such as India. Talk about countries like Brazil. You have, of course, Africa's biggest, Nigeria, largest country in Africa, Nigeria. So for them, they don't want to know. Then there is self-interest. The 5 permanent members have often used their veto powers to protect their national interests, sometimes at the expense of international peace and security. By the way, this self-serving use of power undermines the credibility and the effectiveness of the council. You want examples? The examples of force and unfairness? Should we talk about the Iraq war in 2003? The United States, with support from the United Kingdom, led a coalition to invade Iraq, citing the presence of weapons of mass destruction. WMDs, despite significant opposition within the United Nations Security Council and worldwide, the United States proceeded without a UN mandate. The aftermath revealed that the weapons of mass destruction claims were unfounded, leading to widespread instability in the region. This explains the unfairness of this council. Then talk about the Syrian civil war. Since the outbreak of the Syrian civil war in 2011, I think it was between 2011 and 2012, Russia and China have repeatedly used their veto power to block resolutions aimed at sanctioning the Syrian government or calling for international intervention. This has prevented the international community from taking decisive action to end the conflict, resulting in a prolonged humanitarian crisis. That has happened. There is Israel-Palestinian conflict. The United States of America has consistently, we know very well, we are way about this, that they have consistently used their veto powers to block resolutions critical of Israel, particularly regarding its settlement policies in the occupied Palestinian territories, the occupied West Bank. So this has stymied efforts to achieve a fair and lasting peace in the region, perpetuating tensions and, of course, violence. But I think there is need to reform. They need to reform this Security Council. Given these examples, it is clear that the current structure of the UN Security Council is not only outdated but also inequitable. Reform is essential to ensure that the Council better represents today's global realities and can effectively address international peace and security challenges. Potential reforms could include expansion, increasing the number of permanent and non-permanent members to reflect the geopolitical landscape of the 21st century. This could include adding countries like India, countries like Brazil, countries like Nigeria, countries like South Africa as permanent members. Limiting veto powers. There is a need to limit veto power, restricting the use of the veto power in cases involving mass atrocities such as genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. This would help prevent self-interest from blocking humanitarian intervention. Lastly, rotational representation is also another reform that needs to be done. Implementing a rotational system where regional groups select their representatives to ensure more balanced and inclusive decision making. The United Nations Council, really, when you see its formation, or when you look at its formation, the 5 permanent members, the resolutions, the way it is managed, it needs a reform. There are reforms that are needed. In conclusion, because of time, while the United Nations plays a vital role in maintaining international peace and security, its current structure, dominated by the P5 or the permanent 5, the permanent, like the UN permanent members, this is inherently unfair and often counterproductive. Reforming the Council to make it more representative and equitable is crucial for its legitimacy and effectiveness in addressing the complex challenges of our world. Thank you for joining me, or for joining this important discussion, wherever you are listening from. Let's continue to advocate for a fairer and more just international system that truly serves the interests of all nations. Special thanks goes to all the listeners out there. Thank you for always listening. Please subscribe, like, and of course share. Then we see what to do next. I'm looking forward to improve on such stories or on my stories, and I want you to reply back what you have liked. This is Rodin Mugemari, Afro Pessimist.